I'm going to run through with you how to knit the slip stitch honeycomb. If you've been following along with our current mystery knit along, this is the third section. It's simple once you get into it, but it looks so effective. For it you will need two different coloured yarns. So I've got a reddish and a blue, and some normal knitting needles. To start off with, you need to cast on the right number of stitches. So for the slip stitch honeycomb pattern, it's a multiple of 8 plus 6, and then any edge stitches you want thereafter. So for example, here I have cast on 34 stitches. So that is 3 times 8, which is 24. And then add the 6 for the rest of the pattern repeat. And then I've got 4 edge stitches to either side. Now to get into the knitting. Row 1 and 2 are exactly the same, and it's done with colour B, which will be your kind of outline colour. In the photo that I showed you before, it will be the kind of grey colour, and then your colour A will be the background colour, so that would be the pink. So row 1 and 2, we're going to knit all stitches. So nice and simple this row. So you've got 2 rows of knit. There we go, so that's my 2 rows of knit done. So essentially 2 rows of garter stitch. Now I'm going to attach my colour A. I'm just going to attach it with a quick knot, but when you're attaching it, attach it in your preferred method. Snug that knot up. Now we're going to keep colour B attached, but just keep it to one side for now. And as you go up your rows, just make sure you twist your yarns together to make sure you're catching colour B all the way up. Now rows 3, 5 and 7 are all the same. What I will do just now is I'll put up the pattern for you. So if you want to screenshot that and print it out. So row 3 with colour A, or the background colour, is knit 4. So that's 2 edge stitches and then 2 from within the honeycomb pattern itself. So we'll do that first. So I've got my 2 edge stitches and 2 within the honeycomb pattern. And now the repeat is with yarn in back, already in back, slip 2 purlwise, knit 6. It's quite simple. All we're going to do is slip and slip as if to purl, because if we're going to slip this way you'll end up twisting your stitches. So slip, slip, and then as we knit the third stitch away, just remember to not pull too tight, because you're going to have this float sat at the back. If you pull it too tight, your knitting is going to be all puckered up. So just keep it quite loose at the back. And then we're knitting 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we are slipping 2, keeping our yarn in the back, slipping 2 purlwise, and then knitting a further 6. Even when you get onto like knitting the second stitch along, just be aware not to pull, because it will still pull that float. So you're repeating that to the last 6 stitches. I'm at the last 6 stitches, and I'm going to, with yarn in back, slip 2, and then we are knitting 2 from our main pattern and our 2 edge stitches. I will keep my 2 edge stitches as garter stitch on the way up, but these stitches here will end up being stocking stitch. So rows 4, 6 and 8 are all the same, and we're going to knit 2, so that's our 2 edge stitches, and then bring the yarn to the front to do purl 2. And now with the yarn in front, we're slipping 2 purlwise, so we're still not working those colour B stitches, and then we're purling 6, remembering to keep that float nice and loose. And slipping the 2 and purling 6. And we're repeating that to the last 6 stitches again. Oops. So I'm at the last 6 stitches, and it's slip 2 purlwise, purl 2, and then knit the 2 edge stitches. For rows 5 to 8, you are just repeating rows 3 and 4. But remember to twist your yarns so that you are catching your yarn B behind your yarn A and carrying it up the side. So I will repeat rows 3 and 4 so that in total 6 rows of your colour A have been worked. So I'm coming to the end of row 8 now, which is the 6th row of working with colour A. And if we have a look at the front, you can kind of see it's starting to take shape. It is a bit puckered, don't worry about this, it will all balance out, I promise. And then on the back, this is where our floats are sitting across the slip stitches. So making sure that they are nice and loose is so important. Now we are going to do rows 9 and 10, and that is with colour B again. And just like with rows 1 and 2, it's just knit all stitches. As you see, I've been carrying my yarn up the side. So it's knit your edge stitches, your 2 blue stitches, and now we're at those slip stitches. And we're now knitting those, and as you can see, they are being pulled up from down the bottom. That's what gives it the lovely honeycomb shape. And then knit the next 4 blue stitches, and then it's just knitting the slip stitches again. It does feel like they're being pulled slightly, but don't worry about that. You have just pulled them up from row 2 to row 8. There we go, that's row 10 done. Now you've completed that first half of the honeycomb pattern. What we're going to do next is we're going to shift where we've put the slip stitches to give it that honeycomb shape. So instead of them sitting above this line of red, they're now going to go into the centre. So rows 11 to 16 are just a 2-row repeat. And the first row is knit 2 edge stitches. So knit 2 edge stitches and then knit 6 or knit 8, but that is your edge stitches and then 6 from the honeycomb pattern. So we're knitting across where those red ones are and 2 more. Knit 2, knit 6. Now with yarning back again, we're slipping 2 purlwise and then knitting 6. So slip and slip. Keep that float nice and loose and knit 6. Repeat that until the last 2 stitches. Last 2 stitches, which is just our edge stitches, is knit 2. Row 12 is knit 2, which is our edge stitches, and then purl 6, and then the bit that we're repeating is slip 2 purlwise, purl 6. Repeating that to the last 2 stitches, which will be our edge stitches, which I'm just keeping in garter stitch, so they're just knit 2. There's row 12 done. So you can really see how it's starting to take on that honeycomb shape. I'm going to finish this repeat, so I'm going to knit up to row 16 by repeating rows 11 and 12. Then I'll do another repeat just so that you can really see how this is starting to take shape. So I've worked 2 repeats of the slip stitch honeycomb pattern. So I'm on row 32 now. And it is looking so gorgeous. As you can see, it's being pulled into that lovely honeycomb kind of hexagonal shape. And you've got your pieces of honeycomb offset on each half repeat. And oh, there goes a stitch. On the reverse, it should look a bit like this. So you've just got the suggestion of your kind of contrast colour going through. It's almost pretty enough to be able to do like as a scarf, because the back isn't ugly. If you are going to do a scarf or a blanket, I would suggest finishing it off by repeating rows 1 and 2 again at the top, just to help balance out those slip stitches and to make sure it matches the bottom. I hope you have found this video helpful, and I will see you again very soon. Take care. Happy crafting. Bye.